People assume they won't be able to use Claude Code if they're not technical, but that is not true at all. Anyone can use it to build apps, websites, automations, designs, Chrome extensions, productivity tools, and more. And you don't need to know any code. This is the full guide to start building today, even as a complete beginner. First, you do need any paid Claude account. You can use it on the Pro plan, then you get more usage on the Max plan. You'll also need to download the desktop app. This isn't done through the web version. Just download that, you can click it from the Claude interface, or I'll link to it in the description as well. Install that, like any app, and you're good to go. Once the desktop app is installed, you'll see 3 tabs. The Chat tab, which is the same as the web version you're used to, the Co-work tab, and then the Code tab. Click in there, and this is where the building happens. Getting started is really simple. Type what you want in the prompt box, just like you would when you're prompting any AI tool. I will say, build me a game that teaches me how to type faster. Make it visual, gamified, fun, and effective. But that's a very basic prompt on purpose, and this will be a fun one to kick it off. I'll do a practical build as well after covering a couple of the core concepts. And next, Claude needs somewhere to work. A big difference between Claude Chat and Claude Code is Code actually creates and edits files directly on your computer. So we need to give it access to a folder to do all that in. And to stay more organized, I have a dedicated Claude Code folder. Then I create subfolders within that for each new project. And I'm creating a new folder. You could give it an existing folder as well. And now this is where Claude will create and edit everything. Next, come down and switch it to plan mode. Instead of building right away, Claude will lay out the whole plan for you to adjust or approve. It's much easier to adjust the plan up front than fix things after it's already started building. But that's all we need, send it off. Your first time using it, it will ask you for permission to work in that folder. Just approve it. Then usually it will have a few questions. This is asking the style of game I want. I think a racing game sounds good. Then the type of learning. I'll just do pure arcade for a demo. Then how to structure it. Then it came up with a couple more questions. The visual theme, I think neon synthwave car sounds cool. Then I'll do fun quotes and sentences for what to type. Now it's off. And now just from my 2-sentence prompt, it came back with a full detailed plan. The gameplay loop, why it's effective, architecture, build sequence. If you want to make any changes, you can highlight a section and give Claude notes. Otherwise, if you like it, accept the plan and Claude will start building. It's all done building and it looks awesome, so let's test it. That is functioning perfectly, all from that basic prompt I had and answering 5 simple questions. That is insane to be able to do. And now to make any changes, all you do is ask for them. Like one quick thing I noticed is Claude left its own score of 173 words per minute from when it was testing. So I'll actually take a screenshot, then ask it to remove that. Anytime there's something you want changed where a visual would help, just take a screenshot and drop it in. That's really helpful, and that also works if you want it to replicate something you've seen. You could mock up an element or website, and Claude can recreate it in your build. That was a simple change, and it's fixed. And anytime you want some clarity, you can ask questions. Then Claude will know not to build. Like, I don't want to play through a bunch of levels to understand the whole game yet, and I won't look through any of the code. I'll just ask Claude to explain it. So I'm just going to ask just how this works if it's going to be getting progressively harder. Then instead of building, it knows to answer my question. That explains how all the gameplay logic works. I can ask for changes from there now that I understand it, like adding difficulty levels. Then it starts building again. Then you just go back and forth from there using natural language like this. You don't need to understand the code, just describe what you want, the same way you'd explain it to a person. We've already built something pretty complex, and it was really that easy. Before I cover more concepts, I want to go back and show what happened and what makes this so powerful. After I approved the plan, it started building. As part of that process, it used a bunch of tools, then it started testing the game. And it can adapt to new information from that testing. Right here it says, I need to correct course. So it was using the wrong parameters. It discovered that and fixed the error and then went back to testing. That's a good example of what an agentic model like this can do. It can take action on its own. Instead of just responding, it tests, adjusts, and corrects course without you asking it to. And along the way, it's actually testing the game. It pulls it up, clicks buttons, it typed to make it through a level, and made sure everything was functioning. It does all of that on its own before delivering the end result to you. I think this will always be amazing to me. This game was actually pretty fun, so I made some more changes, added different levels of difficulty. Hard includes a bunch of symbols and numbers. I also added a full testing mode that's like a real typing test to understand where you're at, and then it can place you in the levels from that. Just a few different things like that, using the same process I already showed. Just describe it, Claude builds it. If you want to use Claude Code for marketing work, we've got a free guide for you. It has 4 workflows and 12 prompts that you can copy paste to go from idea to finished product in a single session. Things like building a lead magnet or testing a positioning angle the same day you think of it. You can even launch a campaign without writing a single line of code. If you don't know exactly what to build after watching this video, this has real world use cases that are easy to get started with. That's free, just click the link in the description. Now, I want to touch on the different models. You'll see a dropdown with a big list of models to choose from. These change all the time, so I don't want to focus on specific model numbers, but the reason this choice matters is because Claude has usage limits based on how many tokens you use. And the better models also use more tokens. The models change, but the good rule of thumb is if you're on the Pro plan, use the highest model, like Opus or Fable, for the plan and first build, then switch to a lower model for the follow-up edits. If you're on the Max plan, you'll usually be fine sticking with the highest model all the time. I've got the game built and made some edits. From here, there's something you'll always want to do, so Claude has persistent memory of your project. Create a CLAUDE.md file, a permanent reference document that holds everything Claude needs to know about the project long term. To do that, type /init, then send it, and Claude knows exactly what to do. It reads through all the code and the chat history, then creates a markdown file that contains all of the important aspects. This is what the file looks like. It was added right to the project folder. And this is just markdown. It's not code or anything. All these symbols are just for formatting. If I open this in an app like Obsidian that uses markdown, this is what the file looks like. You don't need to use Obsidian. I just wanted to show that this is a simple text file, not some code base or anything. And really, you don't even have to look at that. But that file will be there as a permanent reference file for Claude. And you can ask Claude to update it with any specifics at any time. Or after a long session, you can just say, update the CLAUDE.md file with anything important that we covered. Now, this game still lives only on my computer, but before I show how to actually deploy this live, I want to show you some features that make Claude Code much more powerful. You can build a ton of stuff with what I've already shown, but there's some pretty easy power-ups to help. First is MCPs. These connect Claude to external tools. These are under Customize, then Anthropic calls them connectors, which is a more understandable name for them. But you'll also hear them called MCPs because that's the name of the protocol they use. You can come up to the plus button, then browse connectors. Then there's pre-built connectors for a massive list of tools. Common ones like Gmail, Google Calendar, and Notion. Those are major ones, but there's tons more in here for most tools you can think of. One I'd recommend everyone connect is called Context7. It pulls in up-to-date documentation for things like React, Expo, Tailwind, Vercel, and a lot more. These tools change, and Claude may have been trained on an older version or pull up outdated info from the web. Context7 makes sure it's always working from current documentation. So definitely worth connecting, then it will always be there and it will use it whenever it needs to. That reduces a lot of hallucinations when it's implementing those frameworks. And I'll disconnect mine just to show this. To connect any of these, you just click connect, then it will have you log in through the platform. Then you're good to go. And while we're in here, there's also plugins. These are packages of skills and tools. There's pre-built plugins from Anthropic that are very powerful and they ship new ones regularly. You can look through to see what might be useful to what you're building. One I'd recommend is called Superpowers. It adds a bunch of different skills Claude can call automatically when needed to help with all sorts of things like brainstorming, subagents, debugging, and more. Definitely a useful one to install. Then Claude will utilize any of these skills automatically whenever it's relevant to a task. And I mentioned skills. These are reusable processes that Claude will follow to achieve repeatable tasks. They have pre-built skills that are awesome, but you can also create your own skill. So how I typically do that is whenever I go through a process myself that involves multiple prompts and iterations, if that's a process I want to repeat again in the future, you can say package that up as a skill, then Claude will analyze everything you did and turn that into a reusable skill, which will get called and executed in the same way every time moving forward. Here's a quick example of a skill. I'll ask Claude to do a security review. Now it has a built-in process for doing this and walks through the whole thing. And this is a super important step before pushing anything public. Claude will find vulnerabilities, exposed API keys, things like that, which could lead to issues. There's nothing present that would be an issue for a project like this, but you can see Claude identified the main attack surfaces for this type of game. Then it searched through, went to see if any of those vulnerabilities were present. And that one's a useful skill, but they can be for anything. Like I have one for writing social media posts and critiquing YouTube scripts. There's one for front-end design, creating payment systems. Basically, any task you can do in Claude, you can create a skill to streamline it. And those three things can get mixed up, so MCPs connect Claude to tools, skills give Claude a process to follow, plugins can bundle multiple skills, MCPs, and more together. Now, I want to show you something more practical, closer to what you'd actually build for work, a real productivity tool using your existing apps. I'll go back to my connectors, and you can see I have Granola connected. I use that for meeting notes. I can make sure the permissions I want it to have are available, then go back to my chat and I'll use this prompt. Build a Kanban style app for extracting action items from meeting notes into a to-do list where cards move between to-do, in progress, and done. Use the connected Granola MCP to pull in meeting notes and extract action items. Now I'll create a new folder for Claude to work in, switch to plan mode, and send it off. Answer a few questions, and Claude comes back with the plan. I approve that plan, then it gets to work. Now here's what it came back with. It pulled my most recent meeting, identified all the action items and who they're for. I can move those around to in progress and done. That was a simple build, but pretty useful, and it nailed it completely on the first try. Once you start connecting tools you already use and building them into new interfaces and systems, you can massively open up what you're able to achieve and start making really time-saving tools for yourself. Now I'll go ahead and run /init. So Claude will create that CLAUDE.md file. And another reason this file is important is if your chat history gets too long, you can start a brand new chat, point it at that folder, and Claude can read that and know everything about the project. Down here, you can hover to see how much of your context window is filled. Your context window is basically Claude's working memory for that conversation, and there's a limit to how much it can hold at once. Claude will automatically compact that when it gets too full, but over time, it will start losing details or getting confused. After a while, it's better to open a new chat. And I'll usually ask Claude for a summary before doing that as well, with a prompt like this. That's especially helpful if you're actively working on a feature or there's more you'll be building that it knows about. Things like that wouldn't typically be in the CLAUDE.md file. Then you just open a new chat, paste that response it gave, point it at the same folder, then it will also read the CLAUDE.md file. And you're good to pick up right where you left off, but without a messy context history. All right, you know how to build things now, but this still lives only on your computer. You may want to share your project with someone or deploy it live to the public. That process is simple, although it takes a little bit of setup the first time you do it. You'll need to install Git if you don't have it and connect Claude to GitHub. So first, we need Git installed locally. On a newer Mac, it's already installed. Windows users will have slightly different steps, but since we're asking Claude, it'll give you the right instructions for your specific setup automatically. Just start with this prompt, check if I have Git installed. If not, install it for me. And mine is already installed because it came with my Mac out of the box. If yours isn't, Claude will walk you through it. Just follow what it says. And next, we need to connect a GitHub account. GitHub is a cloud platform for hosting code. Once your project is there, you can access it from any device, share it with others, or deploy it to the web. It also handles version control, like an undo button for your whole project. You always have a saved snapshot so you can roll back to any previous state if something goes wrong. Just ask Claude to connect to GitHub so it can push code on your behalf and to walk you through anything that needs manual input. Claude will walk you through it, and the steps will be a little different depending on your setup, especially Windows versus Mac. But I do want to walk through them on screen, even though yours may be different. This is the most tedious part so far and the easiest to get lost in. So this will show you what it feels like to go through these, and some of the steps will be the same for every setup. And what's nice is you only need to do this process once. So it will tell me the 4-step process we're going to go through to do that. Installing Homebrew is the first step of that process. So I'll tell it to start that. Then it comes back and tells me I need to copy and paste a command into the terminal. So this is where we need to actually interact with the terminal ourselves to run a couple commands. Claude makes this easy. You can use the same panel button you use for the preview window and open up the terminal right here. Then it's just copy, paste, and hit enter. Then it asks me to put in my password. This is the password to my computer. And when you type this, it won't actually do anything as you're typing. The cursor doesn't move. That's just how it hides passwords by default. So just type in the full password and hit enter. And just wait a minute, then when the input field reappears, it's done. Then tell Claude that Homebrew is installed and ask what next. Now it popped up asking if it can run a terminal command itself to install the GitHub CLI. So I will allow. Then it installs it. Then the last part is it needs me to run one or more terminal commands to authenticate, to actually connect to my GitHub account. So we're almost there. For this step, you do need a GitHub account. If you don't have one, it's free, set it up like any other account. Once you're ready, copy the command Claude gave, paste it into the terminal, and hit enter. Then it will ask a few questions, and Claude actually told me exactly what to answer for each of those questions already. I use it on github.com. Preferred protocol is HTTPS. Then authenticate by logging in with a web browser. Now it gives me a code to copy, so copy that. Then hit enter to open the link it gave. Continue with my account, paste the code, then authorize GitHub. Then it sends a code to that email. I'll enter that here, and we're all set. GitHub is officially connected. Back in Claude Code, I'll say done. Now it's just verifying it works. It did. So it says it can now push code, create and clone repos, and open PRs on my behalf. Perfect. Now that it's set up, you won't ever have to do that again. You can just ask Claude to create a new GitHub repository for this project and push all the current code. Just answer a quick question if I want it public or private. Then it's done with a direct link to the repo it just created. I'll open that up, and this is the repository on GitHub with all the files that have been created so far. And that probably felt like a lot if you're new to all of this. That's why I walked through every step. The good news is, again, you only need to do the initial setup once. From here, for any new project, you just ask it to push it to GitHub and it handles it all. Now that we have a GitHub repository, it's really easy to push that live to the web using Vercel. First, you'll need to create a Vercel account. You can sign up for free using your GitHub account. Then it will take you to this page. Then right in this box where it says import git repository, I'll click the button, continue with GitHub, click install, and it will connect Vercel to my GitHub account. I'll select all repositories and install. Then that box populates with the repositories I have on GitHub. So I'll click import on Neon Type Racer. Then I don't need to change anything on this page, just hit deploy, and that's it. Wait a few seconds for it to finish, then the game is live on the web. At least that's normally all it takes. But I have an error, which is perfect to show. I'll take a screenshot, drop it into Claude, and ask why it doesn't work. It identified the exact issue, which is just that my file had spaces, but websites can't, so Vercel used dashes. It proposed solutions, so I'll pick one, then Claude will fix it. And what's nice is Vercel will automatically detect any changes in GitHub and redeploy with the newest update. You don't have to do anything. Claude is finished, so let's check Vercel. And it looks like it worked. The domain is right here that this is playable at. This is a live URL I could send to anyone to play right now. And everything is working perfectly. So that's how to build a working web app, connect it to real tools, use skills and plugins, and deploy it live. This is all you need to get started. And the best way to learn more is to just start building. Then, anytime you run into a problem, ask Claude for help and you'll learn more along the way. Just pick something you would actually use and build that.